And we are here with the finals of the Strictly Broken TCG X Dan's Ranch X Supreme 2012 collab Weiss Schwarz Legacy Tournament. And finally, we get to see Capo versus Fate in the finals. Not a matchup that many people have ever seen. As the two players get set up here, we've seen a lot of Fate already. Let's talk a little bit about what we expect to see from Capo. Look, Capo privilege has always been a meme, I think, in the boomer crowd because of how many sets this series has. I mean, even at this time, Capo had 6, 7 different sets.
Yeah. Despite that, it never really became meta until the 2020.
Yeah, I mean, well, sorry, it wasn't meta in Neo Standard, but let me tell you, in Standard, oh boy.
Standard is always a different story.
Yeah, Standard is...
Anyhow, build we have here is the Student Council build, not the one that creates like 4 memory and has a hexproof on reverse burn. That's the new version. Instead, we just have a version which makes a lot of memory and heals. The climax lineup is Wind and Door, and I guess we'll touch on the cards as they come up. Right now we have a level 0 that goes to memory upon reversing if the top card of your deck is a trait, and we also have a 0 which, on attack, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a Student Council character, add it to your hand. So it seems like a pretty steady double attack here. Doesn't really have a way of keeping his attackers, so I think he's alright with attacking early with the Rika in the which has the ability to pay 1 and rest itself clock 1 to search your deck for a character with Student Council President in its name. So I believe that would be the 1/0 attacker. Yeah, the level 3 Anzu, the level 1 Shouted attacker, and the 2/1 Erica level support in this deck. So unless he immediately levels up, nothing that he can use on the turn that he searches, but card in hand, nothing.
Now, was there already a ban list out on Capo at this time?
No, Capo has no of this tournament.
So that means, yeah, look, the Student Council build, the no ban list version of this was, I mean, like, if you want to talk about heal loops, like this deck can heal. You get the swimsuit Anzu, I think. I don't know if that's in this list. Which can just
swimsuit Anzu is not in this, but it does have the xylophone.
Xylophone event. That was the other one. Yeah, the swimsuit Anzu, I remember being that ended up on the ban list, I think.
It became a restriction with said xylophone because a xylophone event is a 2/2 event. So lets you choose 2 cards in your and the Anzu is a card with only 1 line of text. It's an alarm, and at the end of your turn, if it's the top card of your clock, it heals itself to waiting room. So basically, if you had 3, if it was in anywhere in the top 3 cards of your level 2, you could just use xylophone and you'd heal 3 at the end. 3 heal 3 by the end of your turn. So while that wasn't a restriction at this point of the game, it was deemed too powerful at one point and got restricted.
Yeah, just a ton of healing that could come out of this deck really fast sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think so. Both of those cards, the Anzu and the Xylophone, came out in the Capo and Capo 2 set, which was the very, very first set of Weiss ever released. So hold on. No, it was the first set of Weiss released in Japan, but in the West we got Disgaea first. Yeah,
Disgaea trial deck, and then I can't even remember. I think it was Motocraft actually.
Anyway, Disgaea, ZNT, Little Busters, and Fate.
In Japanese, it was Little Busters, Da Capo, and Persona. I think
I remember Persona as well. Yeah, but yeah. So look, this the student council build is really just that huge heal loop. Basically, again, fundamentals of the game: high compression. You want to put cards into memory, take them out of your deck, and then have a series of very, very consistent heal effects. The 3/2 Anzu, which I assume is in this deck, Ken?
The 3/2 Anzu, yes, it is.
Yeah.
So that's a card from, I believe it. No, it's the second set.
I don't know, one of the 40 sets.
One of the non first sets. It's a 3/2 10k heal.
Yeah.
And when it attacks, you must reveal the top card of your deck. So basically, if it has student council, I think stage play trait, you can pay 2 on top of your regular CIP heal. So yeah, that contributes a lot to this deck's healing.
Yeah, pretty much every time it attacks, giving you the option to just heal again. And you know, when you get later in the game, and you've just got so many cards in your memory, and you're trying to build up stock. You're trying to play basically a costless level 1, and to an extent level 2. You get late in the game, and you know you can heal from 3/4 down to 3/0 in a single turn. And really, there's kind of two ways to deal with this. One of them is exactly what we're seeing right now. Trigger those big hits early. Try and bash through as quickly as possible when your opponent's on their first roll through their deck. Very, very low compression. And try and just, you know, close the game out as quickly as possible before they manage to get up all of that stock and set everything up to finish the game with that heal grind. And it looks like, well, the cancel on that last one, very, very important. But, you know, quite a bit of damage did come through there. Already, you know, the levels are going up pretty quickly. We're already looking at the level 2 game with only 3 stock on the Capo side, 1/2 on the Fate side with 3 stock as well, though.
Yeah, so CCAntman did make a pretty aggressive play a previous turn where he used both the effects of to such 2 characters. Immediately hit level beaters on that turn, but it does look like it's somewhat working against him here. As these went straight to level 2. There he's using the 2-1 event, which is a pretty important card of DC back in the day. 2-1 event, it salvages any student council character in your waiting room, and then you choose another copy of itself and send it from where. Using this card as compression neutral, and it just pulls 2 cards out of your deck cycle to memory. So the more you refresh, you know, the more compression that you can really generate out of this card.
And that was really the thing about these student council decks, is they are really strong, but they do take a little bit of time to get set up. And if you're able to, you know, punish the setup time that these decks need to go through, then oftentimes you ended up in a pretty powerful position. So just getting that very early damage through could be all that you need. On the little chibi promo there. Nice little card. But it looks like, oh, that was that Anzu that we were talking about before. Looks like able to respond in kind, coming out of the Capo, with a nice little salvage trigger here, to return some of that hand size. In addition to some good damage coming out, looking like this Fate deck will be sitting on level 2 as well. So returning the aggression is definitely it's a start, but we do have to remember that it's not really what this deck wants to do. So if I could choose to be either of these players, I probably want to be Fate right now, knowing that I have the ability to just push through so much damage to close the game out, and try and get through that heal wall by preventing it from ever happening. That's kind of where I would want to be. So I don't know. I think I'd be a little bit worried if I were to Capo right now. But does manage to find the 2. Well, I forget what the character's name is, but I know it's
Sothe?
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So he just changed his automatic. The 3-2's effect is if you have 4 or more cards in memory, it gains 1,000 power and the ability to send a character that it reverses in battle to stock, optionally, and it also heals on play. So I believe he should have 4 cards in memory now. To change the 2 copies of the event and the level 0 the first one went to memory.
Yep,
So
that looks
it's going
right.
to be a 12 in the middle with an optional stock kick, which on initially, giving your opponent a resource when you reverse the character doesn't sound that great, but if your opponent's starved on hand size, you can and prevent them from encoring it. So it does have its uses. It's not mandatory. Pretty good card when you want to play the resource game, because you get to choose what your opponent gets to keep.
Right, and the other great thing about this line is it does put something big on the board early, and the Capo needs that in this sort of matchup where we've seen a climax come out a couple turns now, just pushing through damage, having something big on the board, forcing your opponent to have to crash into it, and can make things really scary. And it looks like that's exactly what the Fate deck is doing right now. Hitting another salvage trigger, but coming in for 2-2-3 in total, with whatever triggers managed to come out on top of that. Hits the cancel on the last card, so that's not going to be going back into the deck. But with 4 cards in memory, a couple cards in stock, a decent hand size, it's not quite where you want to be with the Da Capo deck, but it's getting there. So you can only hope that this second run through the deck is going to be a little bit more favorable. Otherwise, this could run away very, very quickly. 2-4, definitely manageable. Any more than that, we'll see. Really want to be seeing a cancel here.
Oh, that's being a 3-0. I think this happened in a previous game as well. Is kind of difficult for these decks where all the level 3s are hit, because you want to play the character down just to have a body and a 2-soap eater, but you also feel like you're wasting this the stock that could have been used to heal on the turn. So yeah, it kind of forces you into these scenarios. I'm not sure how the level 0 in the middle is still. Was that Encore?
Yeah, you clock Encore the middle one.
That's quite interesting. I didn't.
That's aggressive.
Level 0.
Here comes the clock search. I kind of expect to see Anzu here.
Yeah. So by hitting himself, he kind of gives himself a reason to put it onto a healer down on the. So this way he does have two larger beaters on the board, and one of them allows him to heal again next turn if it stays. So yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good position board wise. It's just he's a bit short on stock, but that's the main point.
Yeah, and those 2 supports at the back, not huge, just 500 to 2 in front. But the yellow 3-2, the Otome, like we said before, it does have a pretty solid body with just the 1000 boost on it. And is that the? I don't recognize that artwork. Is that the level support or the global support?
I forget what the name of the character. It's Mayuki. So it's a 001. The student council trait gained handle. So basically, he's allowing his level 3 to be run over, and he could just discard a card in it, which he should have a decent number to maintain his board. Meaning that he will have 3 stock next turn, can keep his level 3 attackers, and then he can heal once with that 3 stock that he has, and then heal second time using Zozo. So yeah,
decides
so
to
he doesn't take
attack
straight
there.
damage, should be good. Yeah.
Front attack's interesting. I guess maybe what he's thinking is, if my opponent has triple Rin and Archer, I don't want to give them 3 side attacks.
Yeah, that is one way of thinking about it. He is on 3-0, so having an option to side attack certain order going to be a potential threat. However, this game is going a bit faster than I thought, honestly.
Yeah, no, there's been some really big numbers put on the board very, very quickly. definitely a fast-paced game, especially when we're looking at a deck like Capo that really wants to try and slow things down.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do think that does end up being in Fate's favor, because when it does come to closing the games out between these two decks, I think Student Council didn't really have a good way to push damage at this point. I think Newspaper was the one that got a little bit of damage, but Student Council don't seem to think that it did. But what are we seeing coming out on this end?
Well, we saw that Sothe immediately played his healer in the back row, so it does look like he's not planning to combat this turn. The fact that he's not playing any other level 3s also looks like he doesn't have heals in his hand in general. So, yeah, I think CCAntman's going to get a bit of an easy turn. Ideally, he gets to cancel enough so he doesn't go all the if he can eat this one maybe and cancel the one in the middle, which he should be in a decent position.
Yeah, this is definitely a pivot turn for sure. Losing a little bit of momentum for Fate here. Just coming in with some little pithy swings. And
Very interesting.
ooh, a nice cancel there.
He used a door trigger to salvage a drop search instead of directly getting a. So I guess the all the level 3s that he wants are lying in his deck. So
Does he? There was no level 3 Rin and Archer in the drop.
I guess not.
Well, we'll see what comes out on the DC
So
side.
that is a 2-1 level support. It has the Student Council card name, so it can be searched. Very strangely, its other ability is that it has. For some reason, your opponent's able to run it over. You can encore it. I guess you can move it to the front and attack with it and then move it back at level 2, but yeah, for the moment, it's just going to be a support.
I guess the other thing is that if you do have an effect that lets you delete, back row characters, then you can just ditch a card from hand and keep it around.
Yeah, that's also true.
Anzu with a pretty clean attack here. Honestly, bit of a sleepy turn.
Yeah, it is somewhat typical for like just mass heal decks, though. He got the heal. He has 3 cards on the board. He can encore them next turn.
Exactly, and keeping
really
that Anzu is, I mean, that's the engine, right? Like, once the steam train starts rolling, then we're good. Here comes the 3/2 Rin and Archer, but being at 3/0, I guess it depends how many cards are in Capo's deck. Looking at climaxes there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 climaxes.
5 in the waiting room, yeah. And his deck size is 9 cards, so at best it's 3 and 9, which honestly is pretty good. Unless all the climaxes just get shot off with.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this game gets closed out. Kind of feels like if Fate isn't able to potentially even like win the game now, that we might see those two stock kickers pushing these Rin and Archers into stock, saying, "I want to make sure you can't get these back." There's a potential line. 2 climax combos coming in. Burn 1 comes in for 1.
Taking a burn 1, siding for 1.
Sides for 1.
Again, it looks like just this kind of attack wouldn't let Sothe get his enough damage to win the game. So
burn 1 and then swing for 1. And I'm assuming this is a crash coming in for 3.
Yeah, this definitely crash.
With hold on. Okay. Okay. Came in for 5. Takahata said, "No, buddy. Here's the cancel. Calm down."
Right. So for the moment, there's 1 heal on this here. And he can play 1 more from hand if he look like he does, if he's not choosing not to play it yet. But yeah, he does have 2 copies of that stock heal. sorry, sent to stock kick. So he can send the Rin and Archer to stock and deny any onk. As I had said earlier, it's definitely a very powerful choice here.
Goes straight in for the hit, up to 3-5. This is looking like it could be the end of the game right here, and there we go. Nice and clean. 2 damage. Comes out after the 2 damage there. Nothing too fancy, just very solid fundamentals. Heal up, stabilize the game, and come in with some clean wins. So huge congratulations must go to both of our grand finalists, Sothe and Ant-Man. But the winner in a very, very clean game, a very fast game, but a clean game nonetheless, is Capo from CCAntman, coming in with a fantastic student council build. Really well done. Congratulations to everyone there who has played today. Winning the Legacy Weiss tournament is kind of like winning Worlds, but better.
Is it?
Well, yeah, of course it is.
All right, if you say
because
so.
I said so. I mean, you could win Worlds. I mean, you could just play Data Live for 9 rounds, or you could play this GOAT format right here. Really just super clean. Ant-Man just stayed calm through that entire game, and really throughout the entire tournament, just submarined his way through. Wasn't on stream until the last moment, and then just came out for the win. Really just revealed himself that last game, and really finely played as well. Knew how to play that format clearly. Decided, yeah, I want to play heals. Heals were really strong in Capo. They were able to just set up these incredible compression locks, and we really saw a masterclass on that. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We're going to have some brief interviews with the 2 players from the finals in just a moment. So we'll, if you guys will bear with us for a little bit, we'll be joined by our players in just a sec. And
Yep, I can hear them.
Yep, I can hear them too.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah.
There we go. I think I can hear both of you. First of all, congratulations to both of you for making it to the grand finals. Sothe and CCAntman, incredibly well done to get here. Some great games, but of course, eventually the crown went to CCAntman. So let's hear a little bit about what made you want to play the Capo.
I mean, anyone that knows me knows that I'm high on the Capo set anyway. But obviously, if you're going back to 2012, Sedokai or Student Council and Newspaper were the Capo decks of choice. Looking at the format, we assumed because there was no ban list, Xenos Scam would be the best deck. Just as a factor that I think it is the best deck. But I don't have Xenos Takaima. So just looking at that format in general, though, it's a heal compression deck. So kind of comparing how would we build decks back then to now. The biggest issue right now is 2012 decks. They don't really have compression tools. Like Student Council doesn't have a brainstorm. The discard 1 card, like a top 4 cards, don't exist. The on death reverses don't exist. So how do you not die without a brainstorm? And the answer is compression. So I kind of chose Student Council because of that reason, of the compression side. The other option was Newspaper because they have access to the salvage Newspaper brainstorm. But I didn't like the high end of that deck just because you have a good early game, but your late game is weaker than Student Council. So because the format has no compression, I chose Student Council knowing that it has a very good compression tool. And then modifying it for the year 2021, now that we have things in hindsight, anyone that played in 2012 knows that you either played 8 doors, sometimes you played 8 doors, no red, 5 doors, 3 2K1s. But with current knowledge, that's just not viable. Likewise, level zeros, right? Back in the day, you played 12 level zeros, 4 runners, or maybe 16 if you didn't have a runner. So updating the level 0 package to understand that we need the 18 level zeros in the tech package. Like the 0/0 Manuki, my deck that has on attack, draw, discard for Student Council. that was a concession to the fact that there was no compression tools in the game right now. So it was a meta call in that regard. Same thing with the wind, knowing that Monica was going to be a potential deck. If you just bounce combo the back row level assist, you just delay their change for a whole turn cycle, and it's devastating. In my last round against the lacrosse deck, I bounced their change twice, and they just have no field. So that's how I determined how to play Student Council.
Yeah, it sounds like you really knew what you were coming into with the format, and that really gave you a huge edge. Let's just hear from Sothe. I mean, coming in second place in the most competitive Weiss Schwarz event in history. By far, not even close. I know I'm not playing, but it's still pretty competitive. Look, Fate really, it's a popular deck for sure. Back when 2012 was the current year. You went for what seemed to be a pretty typical build. What was your experience playing it in this format?
Experience. I don't know. I built the deck more just like trying to like make use of what made Fate good back then, which is just the global clock home court, having really efficient early game, and having the ability to be able to play its CXs without carrying, just due to like the ability to get back cards whenever it wants to. So I tried to go for that in a lot of my games. Alternatively, I also like built the deck to try and win board with the tie gaze and the counter alongside the axe power. I figured like if I was against like Zero Nusakaima or Monica, I can at least try and win on defense, because even though I can't climb on offense. This deck is like also very good at stabilizing at level 3, which I think a lot of decks in this format need to be able to do to play them. And yeah, I think that I just really enjoy Fate, similar to how he really enjoyed the Capo. Like I've had this series a lot since I started back in like 2013 or so, and I just really wanted to play like this deck again. Pretty much, this is what I started with. So,
yeah,
had a good time.
Sounds good. Sounds fantastic. I mean, sticking to your favorites is definitely a tried and true way. And of course, the question that everyone wants to know the answer to: what are you guys going to be using your prize money on? Let's start with you, Sothe.
The only English deck I have right now is an Apocrypha deck, so maybe I'll buy a nice SP or something for it.
What about you, CC?
Unsure. I mean, same thing. I'd go through what they have, maybe find a Sakura foil if they have any.
Sakura foil. Well, for all your card needs, of course, you can check out Strictly Broken TCG with the greatest range of cards in the Strictly Broken. So I don't know if you guys have a great range of cards. I've never been to British Columbia, but I'll pretend that I know. So thank you so much to CC and Sothe for sticking around and having a chat with us, telling us about what motivated them to play their decks and about their tournament experience. I've had a great time commentating, and also just like to say thank you to Ken for providing the brains in this commentary duo, because lads, I barely remember any of this stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do this without Ken. So thank you so much, Ken, for joining me on this.
Leading me around. I'm not very good at talking, so I need someone to set the pace.
Yeah, I mean, he says that, but he's also a well-respected Bushiroad commentator. Huge thanks have to go out to Strictly Broken TCG, Dan's Ranch, and of course Weiss Tea Time, who've all put together a significant amount of effort with this. I think we've got the list of our top 8 somewhere. I think I might just read that out if I can get them. Here we go. So our final top 8, of course, first place CCAntman, and second Sothe, and then in third we had Vince Chow. Fourth we had Igor Squatslav, and then 5th to 8th we had Player Dandy, T-Man 11, Bromios, and 4X. So congratulations to all of our players in the top 8 who will be cashing out. And obviously CC with a great run through. Can't be understated how hard it is to play that many games in a row and to play them at such a high level. And congratulations to all players. No matter where you finished, I'm proud of all of you. Much love to the chat. You guys have been fantastic for the vast majority. I will I think I said 20 subs for some stuff, but maybe I'll be nice to you guys. Might do. I might be around in the Weiss community a little bit more these days, because I do have a little bit of free time. Yue, do you wanna come on stream and say hi to your loyal fans or what?
Hello. I'm not
There
gonna
we
come
go.
on. But hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been behind the scenes the whole time. Muted for you guys, but not muted for these guys. It was awesome, guys. For all of us boomers, or what are we? What are we, Phil? Are we what do they call us? Coomers?
I think
what?
like
They call
I think
you
we're
Coomer.
millennials.
I'm a
Well,
boomer,
technically,
you're a
we're
Coomer.
millennials, right? But
Okay.
I am just off millennial, so I'm a Gen Z.
Alright, fair
wow.
enough.
Okay, get Ken out of this fucking stream right now.
It's for us. This was so nostalgic, and from CCAntman and Sothe too. Like I hear it and they talk about like how their favorite series are these old series and everything. Like I can totally relate. And it's just awesome that we could do this. We want to do more stuff like this, and I'm just happy to hear that hopefully we have more interest for events like these in the future. Alternative events than just the current status quo of what's going on. I guess that's all I want to say. Thank you so much, chat, for being here. Thank you to all the players, all of top 8. Thank you to you, Phil, you, Ken. Thank you to Dan's Ranch for making this tournament smooth as fuck, like smoother than Phil's beard for sure. That's for sure. And yeah, and thank you to Weiss Tea Time for making the stream backgrounds and everything. Thank you to Strictly Broken TCG for letting me work at this office, I guess. And yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Yue. And again, huge thanks have to go out to the chat. You guys have been great this entire time. I've loved all of you. I promise I'll be around more, and I'll hopefully be. Yes, Yue did just shout himself out. That's fine. We accept that. I don't know. Is anyone from Dan's Ranch want to say a few words? Sure. Go ahead, guys.
Just thank you for running this Strictly Broken and Dan Rants, and it's a fun time.
Yeah, thanks everyone for running it. It was really nice to play with like the old decks again, and shout outs to everyone in Toronto Weiss community as well.
Much love, everyone. We'll close it up there. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.